7 years of war, and the situation for innocent civilians in Syria has never been worse. But we have an opportunity to turn things around today to avert the disaster unfolding before our eyes.
After multiple delays, the United Nations Security Council finally voting today and unanimously adopting a 30-day humanitarian ceasefire in Syria so that aid can get to those in desperate need there, especially in a suburb near Syria's capital, where roughly 500 people have been killed, including 100 children, since Sunday. Now, in a scathing address, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, slammed Russia for delaying the vote. We'll get to her remarks in just a moment, but first, a reminder of the horrors on the ground in Syria. One of the deadliest bombing campaigns of Syria's 7-year civil war, claiming more victims today. Nearly 24 people killed in eastern Ghouta, the rebel-held area near Damascus. Pro-government warplanes hammering the region, hitting a dozen hospitals and forcing thousands to hide in underground shelters. The UN Secretary General describing the situation on the ground as hell on earth. Now desperately needed aid deliveries and medical evacuations could be coming soon. After the UN approved a humanitarian ceasefire, after the vote was delayed until Russia agreed to give its support. Russia okayed the resolution after the timeline of the ceasefire taking effect in 72 hours was dropped because Russia called it unrealistic. Haley says the delay cost lives.
In the 3 days it took us to adopt this resolution, how many mothers lost their kids to the bombing and the shelling? All for nothing. Because here we are voting for a ceasefire that could have saved lives days ago. And after all of this time, hardly anything has changed in the resolution except a few words and some commas. The Syrian people should not have to die waiting for Russia to organize their instructions from Moscow or to discuss it with the Syrians. And why did the Council allow this?
There are still some really big questions here. Will this demand for a ceasefire actually stop the fighting? Does it have any teeth? Plus, when will it take effect? The UN wants it to happen without delay, but what that actually means for a timeline isn't clear.